Hello, my friends. This segment is about remote viewing. In my novel, the Om Prakash character, he bills himself as the Delhi Oracle, who is doing a form of remote viewing, psychic reading, but he does not use anything. The term remote viewing is really the modern version of many disciplines that look into the past, the present, and the future of individuals, things, events. It's really the wavelength of non-local consciousness. I personally worked in the remote viewing field for many years. After a few years of meditation, I discovered that I could really feel what other people were feeling. Things would come to me out of nowhere, and then they would happen. So I went to my teacher, Andrew D'Appasano, the founder of the Temple of Esoteric Science, and asked him, Andrew, what's happening? I'm having all these impressions. So Andrew said, oh, well, that's the beginning of clairvoyance. Then I decided to test myself out. There was a place called the Tamara Rand Institute in Beverly Hills, California. Her clients were Sylvester Stallone, Bob Dylan, Ronald Reagan. She was very well known. And I went to her and she told me, okay, give me a reading. I gave her a reading and obviously she was satisfied because she told me, okay, come next weekend and I'll give you a table. She had psychic fairs where there's many psychics and you can go and pay a discounted price for a 15-minute reading. And so that's how I began. When I was giving readings, my favorite at first were keys, because keys are metal. So they're charged and they're with people. They go everywhere where people go. Psychometry, it's called. It means you use an object as the conduit to perceive. That lasted for quite some time, but then I decided to test cards. So I learned about the tarot, but not too much. Just enough to where I could feel what the card meant. I had a basic knowledge, but I would always go with the imagery of it and the impression that I was getting from the person. After a little while, I noticed that many people were addicted to that wavelength. And I could see over the weeks some people coming back too often for it to be a healthy interaction. So I decided to get into research. And I found this group called the Mobius Society, which was a non-profit paranormal research group founded by Stephen Schwartz. They tested me. It was completely different. It was, tell me about this object, or what's in that envelope, a photo, what happened to that person. Also later on, we were using maps, but I mean maps, sometimes it was a blank sheet of paper with squares, nothing to show. You didn't know what you were reading, what they were looking for. This was like blind reading. Let's say we're looking for a sunken ship, and this is the grid. So then I started to use a pendulum. After seeing how it reacted to like several grids, I knew if I was in hot or cold territory, and so I used that. I stayed in the remote viewing world for many years, and I had some incredible adventures in archaeology, in crime, in finance. Finance was interesting because what we were doing was called a double-blind experiment, which meant that you were told, okay, next Friday, in this place, in this office, at this time, 3 p.m., we're gonna open an envelope. Describe me the picture that will be in that envelope, and pick the envelope out of 3. And then you would describe the picture. Okay, I see altitude, I see an angle, I see water. Okay, so it was the mountain by the sea, let's say. And each picture of those 3 had been assigned to a specific stock movement on the stock market at the time that the envelope would be open. So that was a double-blind experiment. So we did experiments like that for quite some time, and we had great success. We never knew really all the details until later. about any case for that matter. Except if we were live on an archaeological dig and they found something that we described, then we had instant gratification. But in ongoing experiments, it took quite a while to be able to average out a rate of success on what we were doing. I have stopped doing it quite some time ago because I realized that that was not my calling ultimately, that I didn't want to make a living being a psychic or being a clairvoyant. I came to the conclusion that this is offered and it should be given. So that's my take on it.